Welcome to 70s Unheard, featuring obscure and underappreciated artists and tracks from the 1970s, a decade bursting with musical diversity and innovation, with stories and songs tied to the greatest single decade in the history of popular music. And today I'm happy to be joined by a friend for his second visit, one who really understands the conceit of this show, as my daughter describes it. I had a great response from his first set of songs that were truly unheard, eclectic, and interesting. In fact, I still listen to some of those artists from that show today. And this time he continues to be eclectic, but mostly with artists I knew, even a couple of albums I owned, but cut so deep that I hadn't listened to them in years. So re-listening to them made me appreciate those even more. So allow me to reintroduce an eclectic music lover, world trekker, frog gigger, Kentucky native, and proud grandfather, Mr. Scott Fitch. Welcome back, Scott.
Thank you, Jeff, and thanks for inviting me back.
Yeah, I love having you here. We had a good time last time, and I know when we planned our original show, you had added like 2 hours worth of interesting music, so we decided at that time it might be best to do a second show. So I'm really glad that you're here again. And what went into the selections this time?
Just artists from the 70s, and I tried to pick some songs that were from maybe some unknown artists, along with some of the deeper cuts and some of the records that people maybe hadn't heard.
You're good at that. And so what I noticed on this time versus last, a little more Southern rock, I think. And was that by design, or is that just how it worked out?
I think it's just the way it worked out. I mean, yeah. I've kind of went back to, mid-70s, graduating high school, going to college, and it was the music I tried to relive some of those times and what I was in my car, what I listened to when I was out driving around, and
that's what we all do. That's why we still love this music, right?
That's right.
We're going to begin today with the Tampa, Florida-based band, The Outlaws. Any reason for The Outlaws?
Just one of my favorite bands, and just like their sound. They got dueling guitars, and it's just a really good Southern rock.
They're true, the prototypical Southern rock. So a band still touring after 59 years. Here's the title track from the 1977 album, Hurry Sundown. This is The Outlaws.
Shadows in the light of the moon, they had heard the gypsies call. with those who have walked before me here. I am cast in the web of an ancient spell. I'm holding on to life. I'm drifting in a stream. Everything's much clearer now. We live within a dream and never away.
That was early Kansas, their unique blend of prog and heartland rock from the 1975 album Mask and Child of Innocence. Scott, did you catch Kansas? They were in town last year.
I did. I've seen them several times.
At the baseball park?
No, I saw them at the Tennessee Auditorium.
Is that? I was thinking they were at that new baseball park. Was it good?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, they're really, really good. You know, still sounded great.
You know, I had that Left Overture and Point of No Return, a couple of those, but I never owned that album. Were you aware of them when that was out? You know, before they hit mainstream success?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
See,
I had that record back in the day. Yeah.
Very good. Very good song. All right, your 70s. Time Warp starts here on 70s Unheard with this week's guest, Scott Fitch. Scott, this next one, I bought this album back in the day and played it endlessly. It is 1976, and I was telling you earlier, if I had a stopwatch on all of the albums, the ones I played the most, I think this would be one of the albums I absolutely played the most when I was in high school. And I often, this is the last song on that album, and I don't know that I listened to it as much as most of that album, but this is a great cut listening to it again after you suggested it. So tell me about Steve Miller and this album, Fly Like an Eagle.
Just, you know, it was, I think my senior year in high school, I had the record, and there's really not a bad song on there. It had probably 4 or 5 top 40 songs, and then this was kind of a B-side, I guess you would say.
Right.
Great song. And there's a live version of this I had on a recording from somewhere, and I can't find it.
Really?
But it was a really good live recording, but this is the studio recording.
I'm looking forward to it. On this album's cover, what's cool about this album is Steve Miller's posing with this black left-handed Fender Strat. And that was a guitar that Jimi Hendrix had originally ordered from the famed Manny's Music in New York City. But Miller ended up purchasing it because Hendrix had died before the ride. Miller had to restring it to be a right-handed, and sadly that guitar was stolen from Steve after the album's release. This is the very last track on Steve Miller Band's 1976 album Fly Like an Eagle. This was called The Window.
Ask my baby what she wants to be. She'll say a monkey swinging in a tree. Ask my baby what she's thinking of. She'll say there's nothing great. a beautiful planet, peace and harmony, 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 harmony. Think love, you're surrounded. We are one, you and I. Gather your leaves together. There's only love until we die, until we die. Ask my baby what she's going through. She'll say the same thing as you. Ask my baby what she's thinking of. She'll say there's nothing greater than love. Well, look through the window. Tell me, what do you see? A beautiful planet, peace and harmony. Think love, you're surrounded. We are one, you and I. Gather your leaves together. There's only love until we die, until we die. Lord, oh no. It's 9 o'clock at this old station, and my silver lining ride is right on time. And as I buy myself a one-way ticket for somewhere else on down the line, as I see the lonely faces of the people that will never come home. And when I stare into the mirror, mama, see myself all alone. Oh, and did you ever stop to wonder by the times that you
happiest time on my turntable back in the day. Another Florida band with 3 members having a Native American heritage. That's Blackfoot from their 1979 album. That one with the snake on the cover. Blackfoot Strikes is the name of that album. That was Left Turn on a Red Light. Scott, I didn't know this one. Why this choice?
I just like the song and like the band. Great record. Had the Highway song, Train.
Right.
And it had another Wishing Well. Had some really hard driving songs on there, but I always like that song.
Great song. Digging through the dusty record crates for forgotten gems, so you don't have to. This is 70s Unheard with my special guest, Scott Fitch. And Scott, we were talking earlier, you know, in this era, you can pop on Spotify and just put it on shuffle, songs you've never heard. How did you discover new songs back in the day? You were a rural Kentucky guy. It wasn't like we had a ton of radio stations in our hometowns.
Just, you know, it's so strange how time has progressed. Now everything's at the touch of your hand. You listen to something on Spotify and you go to the next song or get on like a Tom Petty playlist and you get all these great songs, you know. And back in the day, we had a boombox, cassette player, you know, and you'd listen to the radio and you'd try to record your songs and make you a cassette you could play in your car, or buy the album. But you know, I guess it just radio. I had 3 really good friends that worked at the local radio station. They got a lot of new promos and stuff, and that's kind of how I kept in music. Spent some time at the radio station with them growing up. And
I'll tell you, for me, it was record store employees. You know, those guys always. There was a couple of record store employees I think back in my life that always said, "Hey, you should listen to this album," and those guys kind of steered my taste. All right, up next, we're going to play one that I also had the album and listened to it a lot. This is one that I'd kind of forgotten about as well. Tell me about Styx and the Grand Illusion.
Just reminds me of the 70s, and still the band's still playing. They still sound really good. I've seen them several times in concert, and you know, Tommy Shaw is just incredible. But this is one of my... it's got that hard driving guitar lick in the middle of the song, which everybody's heard. But
and recognizable keyboards. I always know a Styx keyboard when I hear it. All right. I always thought this song was kind of critical of pageant candidates like Miss America, but what I learned is Styx guitarist James Young wrote this song about his wife, Susie, who suffered from a rare and curable condition called polyphoria. It's a love song, but not a typical one. Susie is his Miss America, and he's singing about her struggle, with the most overtly line being this dream that you must live, a disease for which there is no cure. Sadly, Susie died in 2022. So from the album The Grand Illusion, this is Midwest prog rocker Styx from 1977 and Miss America.
States
Savannah woman dressed in white stands out of tropical rays. She pulls her gin and tonics tight and curses her lonely domain. Brazilian winds blow warm and real, a white estate they call Bonada. Moaned for her soul, or so she said. Has a sadist young maidens. No one knows but me how she left me so behind. Savannah woman, I could never leave you so kind. Snow White and with desire, that vamp from the magazine, cold and distant as the moon. Why can't she burn like fire? She left me so behind. Savannah woman, I could never leave you so
choice, Scott. I've been planning to play that song since his show began. That's a former member of both Deep Purple and the James Gang from his 1975 solo album, Teaser. That was guitar prodigy Tommy Bolin and Savannah Woman. Scott, what can you tell me about Tommy Bolin?
I listened to, caught wind of him when he was in Deep Purple back when I was in college, and then I started exploring some of his earlier stuff and found a couple of solo records, and those were both really, really good.
Yeah, his story's compelling, man. He's from Sioux City, Iowa. He had like these teen idol looks. He was a good-looking guy. He had a guitar ability like no other, and he easily moved between musical styles. He played with Billy Cobham, who we just talked about, and then he went to metal with Deep Purple before joining the James Gang, and then becoming a respected solo artist, and his star was on the rise. He was opening for Peter Frampton and Jeff Beck in Miami in 1976, posing for his last photo, and it was taken for Rolling Stone. It was going to be a cover story on Rolling Stone. Hours later, though, he died from an overdose of heroin and other substances. So a sad loss at a very young age. I think he was, did you say he was 20-something?
Late 20s, 28, 29.
28 years old. And you're listening to 70s Unheard on Radio KCM. Scott, on our last visit, we talked about your completion of the AT, the Appalachian Trail. You certainly are an accomplished hiker. Do you have any current pursuits or plans? Anything coming up?
You know, Jeff, I hate to admit this, but I haven't been back in the woods since I hiked off Mount Katahdin in October. But I'm going to get back out there. I got a guy I hike with, and we've been talking some about maybe going to Vermont and doing the Vermont Trail. We've already done, I think the AT's got about 200 miles of it, and there's another 200, the northern part with that.
Good deal.
We would probably maybe want to try to hike maybe sometime this fall, possibly.
That's great. I would do it early fall if you're in Vermont.
No kidding. Yeah, no kidding.
All right. This next artist took their name from a lyric and the song The Wait by the band while discussing names to replace their original name, which was the Shadettes. The members of this band heard the opening line, "I pulled into Nazareth, feeling about a half past dead." And so they changed their name to Nazareth. So, Scott, I do love this band. I like how they blend like grit and melody. They really are a hard rocking band with good melody. So why do you love Nazareth?
Just great vocalists and really good band. I think everybody had the Hair of the Dog album back in the day.
Right.
And if you've ever can appreciate a singer, a vocalist, if you hear a cover band trying to covered "Love Hurts."
That's right.
You know? And it's about impossible for somebody to sing that song. But anyways, I just this is a deep cut, and I love this song.
It's good. From the album Close Enough for Rock and Roll. That was their follow-up to Hair of the Dog. This is called You're the Violin, and this is Nazareth.
Some beat me like a drum, some stroke me like a guitar, some shake me like a tambourine, some beat me into the bar. In the song of my life, baby, some blow me like a horn, some slide me like a trombone, some throw me like a doo-wah-doo, some cut me like a saxophone. In the song of my life, baby, when you touch me like you touch me, don't it feel like a summer breeze? When you lay down in my lonely soul, yeah, it brings me to my knees. Think I'm making love to you, sweet baby, yeah. When you touch me like you touch me, well, don't it feel like a summer breeze? When you lay down in my lonely soul, yeah, it brings me to my knees. Think I'm making love to you, sweet baby, yeah. Some beat me like a drum, some stroke me like a guitar, shaking me like a tambourine, some beat me into the bar. In the song of my life, baby, in the song of my life, baby,
And that's Nazareth on 70s Unheard, a portal to a bygone era. This is 70s Unheard with my special guest, Scott Fitch. Scott, when I think of Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush, back in the day, I think of the serious rock fan. The guys that listened to Mahogany Rush to me were those guys that were very serious about their music. They weren't listening to fun bands. And it kind of takes me back to seeing them on Don Kirshner.
Oh, yeah.
When I was in high school, and there was no smiling, man. They were serious about what they were doing. So what do you remember about Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush?
Just a really good guitar player and underrated singer, man. He's a great singer, and had tickets to see him back in Nashville in 2020, and the tornado came through and it wiped the venue out, and he canceled. And then since then, he's got some neurological issues and he's not playing anymore. So
I didn't know that.
I missed
so he's
out.
Totally retired.
Yeah, well, he's come back and now he's doing some guest stuff, but maybe he might. These guys didn't make a lot of money in their heyday, so he may get back out there and try to maybe play somewhere in the future, hopefully.
I hope so. So, from their 1976 album, Mahogany Rush 4, This is Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush and Dragonfly.
A sound of secret things. They look back up in that rusty sky. Yonder sweeps the dragonfly. Collect the souls of everyone. Time and space. Because of love, and you'll have no regrets. Surely you'll come to lay this earth to rest. I know one day you'll see him, but please don't ask me why. A secret dragonfly.
to Rhythm Section from the 1976 album Red Tape and Free Spirit. Originally the session band for the newly opened Studio One recording studio in Doraville, Georgia, near Atlanta. Certainly more of a southern rocker than their later material. Scott, why Atlanta Rhythm Section in this song?
I think just I had the Champagne Jam album record and the cassette and whatever you could buy at the time, but that was a great record. Then I kind of found this song later on, maybe in the last 10 years, I found this album, started listening to it, but that's a really good song right there.
We were talking, both of us, there was an album called Champagne Jam. I wore that one out. That was one of my all-time favorites. All right. Unveiling the hidden gems of the 70s. This is 70s Unheard. Up next, an English performer and songwriter, Russ Ballard. Ballard was most well known as the vocalist for the band Argent on their smash Hold Your Head Up. Scott, tell me, why Russ Ballard, and why'd you choose him today?
I had a record from him back in 1980, which didn't qualify for this show, but he had a record, a bunch of solo albums, but it was really good. And then I kind of found this song after the fact in the last, after I started discovering him. But I love this song.
I didn't know anything about it.
It's kind of poppy, sort of the Ambrosia player type. At least, yeah. A
little bit of soulful pop, but he's also a famous songwriter. He wrote songs such as New York Groove for Ace Frehley, God Gave Rock and Roll to You, an Argent song, and Petra, I think, did that one. He wrote Liar, the Three Dog Night recorded, and one we're going to play later, Rainbow, Since You've Been Gone.
Yes, and he also wrote a song for Santana, Winning, and he wrote another song.
I love that.
By America song. He did an America song, Magic.
I love that Winning song. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. All right, from his 1978 album, it's from the album At Third Stroke. This is Russ Ballard from 1978, and What Does It Take? Double Fun. That was Robert Palmer, and it wasn't. That was Russ Ballard.
I'm sorry. That's right. You got ahead.
So tell me about Russ Ballard.
Had his record in college, and then this was an album a couple of years before 1980, so it didn't qualify for the 70s Unheard, Jeff.
That's right. We talked about that. Yeah. So we're going to jump now to Robert Palmer from 78 album. Tell me about what you love about Robert Palmer. When I think of him, I'll tell you, I think about that video on MTV.
Everybody has the Addicted to Love.
That's exactly right.
This is not the Addicted to Love. This is a more subtle song, and I think it's a love song. And but anyway, it's great.
I love it. Here he is. This is Robert Palmer. from the album Double Fun. This is called You Overwhelm Me. I do remember this one now. On 70s Unheard, and that does it for this episode of 70s Unheard. You can catch me every Wednesday at 11 here on Radio KCM. Scott, it was excellent to have you on again. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, so we're going to close out with the band Rainbow, and I know you've got a little story you'd like to tell.
Yeah, I saw Deep Purple when Ronnie James Dio was singing back. I think it was in '82. It was the Mob Rules tour, and that's when all the concerts were like festival seating. You know, first come, you get up to the front, and we were on the front row. And my friend had snuck in this poster board, and he had it folded up in his pocket, and he didn't tell us. And then Dio's up there singing and looking at us, and my friend pulls this poster out of his pocket and holds this sign up, which was about maybe 2 or 3 feet long and about 6 inches tall. And Dio just stopped singing in the middle of the song. The band stopped, and then he just started cracking up, and he pointed at us. And then somebody snagged the board out of the poster out of his hand, and it said Padavana, and then quotations, do the same thing. And just so happened Padavana was his original name, and then do the same thing was a song that he had in a band and when he was in high school. But it was really funny at the time. But this is a really good song right here.
Very cool. So we'll close with this one today, Rainbow, from their 1975 album Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. This one's called 16th Century Green Sleeves. Until next time.